Welcome to Florida Focus, a college football podcast. My name is Brandon. I'm a lifetime Seminole fan.
I am Chris, and I'm a grateful Gator fan.
We are putting aside our differences as rivals to bring you the fantastic world of college football throughout the Sunshine State. And I think we're both pretty joyous this week just to have some W's.
Yeah.
But I'll let you start off first on why Gator fans should be happy about their win over Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're more happy than us, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, I'm grateful because hey, we got a win. And okay, everything I say, I'm not gonna say it over and over again, but I'm just gonna say this right now. It's Vanderbilt. Okay, so I'll say it right now. So everything I say, you just say that into your mind. It's Vanderbilt. Okay.
Fair enough.
So I'm happy we got a win. It was the homecoming game. We had our throwback unis. It was a game that we needed. It was one of those games where if you really feel down about yourself, Vanderbilt at home is a great elixir is the right word to say.
Love it.
Florida wins 42-0. And in a game that it kind of, at this point of the season, you start to figure out who your team is. And this is who our team is. We are inconsistent. We are sluggish at times and great at times. We don't know what we're doing at times, and we can dominate at times. And this was a game just like that, where we come out of the gate scoring 2 touchdowns, go up 14-0, and then just get bogged down offensively. And Vanderbilt helped us out. They missed some field goals, missed 3 field goals on the day. And had they made those first 2 field goals and we don't punch it in at the end, halftime could have been 14-6. Like it really, or maybe even worse, had they one of those field goals pretty short. And it was one of those things like, it could be worse, but it should be a lot more dominant going into the half. But we came out the second half on fire, outscored them 21-0, and that was it after the third quarter, really. But it was a game where a lot of ups, some downs. You're like, okay, this should be 42-0 at halftime, not end of the third, but we'll take it. A win's a win. A lot to improve on, but it really gives you some confidence again. You're like, oh man, are we really that bad after losing to Kentucky? But no, Vanderbilt's much worse. So some of the positives we'll get into. The old Dan Mullen is back. Last week I was just like, this was not the Dan Mullen that coached Kentucky is not the one we're used to. He was the most conservative game I've seen him coach. This game is the Dan Mullen that we're used to. He was a lot more fiery, especially if you heard his comments going into the second half. She was like, how do you think your team is playing? And he goes, awful. And just awkward silence. She was like, okay, have a good one. We're up 21-0 at half, but it's one of if you watch the game, you didn't feel like it was 21-0. And he was mad. He was mad at the team, and I'm like, yes, thank you. You're saying how we feel as fans, even though we are 21-0. It's like I said, Vanderbilt. It should be way more. You felt like it should be way more. So I liked that he was angry. I liked that he was not pleased. He had that almost like Saban mentality, which is what you need to have. But then you see he did stuff like we converted on fourth downs. We were 3 for 3 on fourth downs. The vertical passing game was a lot more prolific. Is that the right word? I'm trying to drop all these. Proficient? I don't know. You figure it out.
Sure.
I didn't go. You could tell I'm a Florida fan, not a Vanderbilt fan. So we're actually stretching the field, not just slants and running in a dive play. We're actually going down the field a little bit more. And then we had a fake punt in the third quarter that really sparked the team. So that's kind of the more Dan Mullen coaching that we're used to, which I really liked. Another thing that was positive was Emory Jones, very efficient. Again, he had some miscues through that pick there, but overall, a pretty good game by him. 4 touchdowns. I only had that one pick, but this is the most touchdowns he's thrown in a game all season. So I'm happy to see that, and he's still again effective while he was running the ball.
Mhm.
So again, some misses, some makes, but overall pretty efficient from Jones. The running backs, we had Malik Davis was out, but Naquan Wright and Pierce stepped up, especially in the passing game. They hit Pierce for a long touchdown. Um, he slipped out of the back. Naquan Wright earlier in the game slipped out of the backfield and got a big chunk, like 40-yard gain. And then later on in the game, we scored in this exact same play with Pierce. But Pierce overall had 3 touchdowns. So loved our running backs, and all of our receivers stepped up. All of our receivers got some touches. Jaquan Frazier's, again, finding the end zone. Trent Whittemore finding the end zone as well. And Jacob Copeland. They had it was funny, like all the receivers getting touches except Jacob, and in one drive, it's like the Jacob Copeland show where it was just feed him, feed him,
Right.
feed him. So it was nice to see that. And then the D, I mean, a shutout. It's pretty cool. It's really hard to do, and
Yep.
Vanderbilt definitely helped us out. Got to doink off the upright on one of the field goals, missed 2 really short gimme field goals. But we'll take it. We'll absolutely take it. And there was a fourth and goal catch that they ruled a touchdown. I overturned it. But sometimes you need help. But even though it's still, you did your job.
Yep.
Florida's defense is very much bend but don't break, or sometimes they do break. And they did their job. So I'll take it. They got 2 picks on the day.
Yep.
Newkirk, the D lineman, dropping back in the coverage. Vanderbilt had, I want to say, like 2 or 3 like long plays, and it seemed like we were on our heels. And then the D lineman Newkirk drops back into coverage, gets a pick, and really sparked us in that second quarter, leading to our 3rd touchdown of the day. And overall, defense less than 100 yards rushing and less than 200 yards passing. Pretty good. And
Yep.
again, with that little caveat at the beginning, but still, an SEC caliber opponent. You weren't doing this earlier in the year. Now you are. So good for Florida. And overall, I'm grateful that we got a win, we got a shutout, and then we just got a good feeling about ourselves again.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to throw all of my positive opportunities together at you, but the Florida defense, they allowed 24 completions, 199 yards. That's good. You'll take that every day. I mean, you're not even getting 4 yards per pass. You're going to see 0 on the scoreboard. There's a good chance of it. Yeah, I mean, the rushing was almost non-existent for Vanderbilt. To rush it 34 times for 88 yards is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, ball distribution for the Gator offense continues to impress me, and a couple of things to clean up. 8 penalties, that happens sometimes, whatever. Some of the most penalized teams are the best teams in the country. The 2 turnovers, you mentioned those already. And, yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to have luck go your way. So you're talking about all of the missed kicks and the touchdown that wasn't and all that good stuff. It is what it is. But you're right. It is Vandy, and I understand. Struggling program, it happens. But to see that fire from Mullen, I think you kind of nailed it, put the nail on the head with all of those things. And if you're going to do it in a game, even if you're not sincere about it, this is the game to do it.
Right.
After you've come off of a loss of a pretty good Kentucky team, as it turns out. Mm-hmm. And going into a game like this, you got an LSU on the road looking ahead. You did all the things you should do in this game.
Yeah. A couple things that, like I said, that slowed us down. When Anthony Richardson came in, he seemed to be very, I want to say, ineffective. He came right off the bat and threw a pick his first drive. It wasn't the same Richardson as we saw earlier in the year. I'm not sure if he's still hurt or injured, or it's not 100% or what. Or you could look at it and go, well, the first 2 games he played against FAU and USF and looked great.
Yeah.
And now we played against Kentucky and Vanderbilt, who are it's different competition. I will say. So I think really him not playing, and then his last 2 games not playing as electric, has really quieted the Emory Jones has to go talk. And people are leaning in, okay, Emory Jones isn't that bad, maybe. But when he came in, just the flow just seemed to mess up. And I understand you wanted to get him reps, and he's part of your game plan, but it just seemed like it hurt us more than anything. But there was times that Emory came in and we didn't do much either. And honestly, there are a couple of throws that Emery, that first throw he threw to Whittemore on the first drive, Whittemore had his man beat, and I don't know if it was supposed to be like a fade or an out route or a go route, but he threw it behind him, and Whittemore made a good job and adjusted for like a 34-yard catch. But if he throws it in front of him, that's a touchdown. Same thing with the pass to Naquan Wright out of the backfield. If he throws it in front of him, he runs it in for a touchdown. He was wide open, adjusted, and still a huge gain. But then the touchdown pass to Trent Whittemore in the back of the end zone, that was a beautiful on the dime, only to where Whittemore could catch it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, oh, do that every time or more often than not. But so nitpicking, it should have been more dominant, like I said. And it could have been interesting and dicey had the kicks gone the right way for Vanderbilt. But small things here and there, nothing glaring, but overall you felt better about yourself and the team.
Yeah.
So, well, I'll take it. I'm grateful. W's a W, man.
SEC win. Can't underestimate it.
Yep.
All right. That's it for me. Any last thought before we move on?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it for me, man.
It's Vanderbilt.
Oh, yeah. I will say, though, I did actually go to this game.
Tell me about it.
And it was just real cool. We sat right behind the players, and it was just neat to be back in the swamp and all the pageantry and the fanfare, and it was really cool to. I think the last time that we were in a game in the swamp was so we wore our throwback uniforms this game. The last time we were in the swamp, because we saw them play Virginia in the Orange Bowl. Last game in the swamp was the A&M game where we wore those awful uniforms, those green ones. So I'm like, okay, good. I see a game where they wore nice uniforms and they win the ball game, and so it was good. But I had fun. Even though it was noon, it was cloudy, so it wasn't too bad. So it was good to be back in the swamp, cheering on the Gators and seeing them victorious.
Heck yeah, man! Glad you got to go.
Yeah, me too.
Awesome, good times. Well, I'm happy too.
Yeah, I bet, man.
FSU finally showed me some things, and I'll let you pick, Chris. Do you want to hear my opportunities or my positives first?
I mean, let's go positives.
All right, it's a long list.
Let's go. Yeah,
a lot of good things. It's a good problem to have here.
Yeah.
Some of these things are going to sound really Brandon-like, but the first thing I noticed, the punting was very good.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah,
you can't
absolutely
undervalue it, especially in a season like this. Master Mono has actually been kind of a gift. He can punt with both feet. They like to bring that up in every broadcast, but FYI.
Yeah, they do. You're right. I didn't notice that, but you're right. Every game.
So that continues to be a positive there for real. Finally, FSU gets over on third downs. This was something that has been plaguing us the entire year. We made Sam Howell look pretty average, and this isn't a fluke. He has had some struggles, but our defense was really the reason why. Some small things here and there. Our offensive line finally got some things together. We held a pocket together on passing downs and gave our quarterback more than 3 seconds. There were guys getting into the second level. Even when the defensive line knew what the snap count was, we were still holding blocks. Washington on a screen pass got into the second level, which was good. And then Scott on a rush got up to the linebacker level. That's just progress and stuff we haven't seen this year by the offensive line. So thank you guys for finally getting healthy, getting it taken care of. Bavion Johnson coming in after an injury doesn't seem to have slowed us down, and that was what I was really concerned with. Like, coming into the year, you're like, maybe we have 7 offensive linemen who can play. And then out of the first month, like 4 of them are hurt. So we were really, really nervous. At least I was. And this is the first game where I was not nervous. I was like, man, they're actually getting some things done here.
Right.
I mean, the big plays continue, right? The 53-yard touchdown run by Jordan Travis, one of the longest ever by a quarterback in Florida State history. This is something where the offensive line blocked and released at perfect time, and he just sprung free. The probably the swing point of this game, Chris, was the interception by Jerrion Jones in the end zone.
Yeah.
We were up 14-10, but UNC was driving late second quarter. Does that play not happen? And if they score a touchdown, they take the lead. And maybe they grab the momentum and just keep it going in the second half.
Yeah.
We've seen FSU kind of get down like that before, but this at one point we outscored them. They take a 10-0 lead, and we outscore them 35-7. I think was the math I did at one point. For like a solid 2 quarters, this is the first game where we looked like we dominated the team. Even our other good game against Notre Dame, you're like, oh, you're down by 18. You're trying to figure some things out. You still got a big play here and there, but you never felt like you were in control of it. With this one, after the first quarter, we were in control for pretty much the rest of the day. And Tari Wilson gets not 1 but 2 touchdowns. Both of them we kind of ran Travis one direction and kind of threw it across the field. That only works because they're so scared of him running. But hey, schemed it up beautifully.
Right.
Hey man, we defended a Hail Mary. we didn't give up a touchdown on the last play of the half. So
well, really, that other one wasn't really a Hail Mary. That was just a guy running a play and not being defended. But yes, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, we didn't give up a touchdown with no time left in the second quarter. I'll put more broad term, but that was a little scary because it didn't get batted down right away. I was like, oh boy. But when you go up 21-10, that play, another one, you kind of get a little bit lucky, or you don't quite defend it perfectly, still doesn't get caught. That's a good thing. We had both a goal line push because we got in the end zone on, I think it was 2nd and goal from the 1, and we had a goal line stand. For the second week in a row, Chris, we actually stopped a team on 4th down. Against Syracuse, it hurt us a little bit more, but against this one, it was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. After that point, UNC was like, okay, well, I think we've lost today.
Yeah.
We were very low in penalties. At one point, so Travis actually ended up being 11 of 13. His 11 completions were consecutive. 11 completions in a row.
Wow.
Trayshawn Ward, great number 8. I'm trying to see if that'll catch on.
Should.
And then
why not?
Corbin keeps running well. So obviously a lot of things to be excited about today. I didn't really have too much, but I'll hold off on that. What were your thoughts or your impressions from it?
Jordan Travis thing that really sticks out to me, he's just 121 rushing and 2 touchdowns, but really, he accounted for 5 touchdowns, and the passes he threw were really good, and you can just tell that he how effective he can be when he's healthy. It feels like he's healthy now, and he's only going to get more healthy now that you have your bye week coming up.
Yeah. So
you see that him and your O-line, when healthy, he is dangerous. When his O-line's healthy, he is really dangerous. And again, the running game was dominant as well. Ward and Corbin as well. Really good. 0 turnovers. Am I seeing that correctly? 0 turnovers?
You are correct.
So, which is odd for Florida State this year. So, when you don't turn the ball over, good things happen. So, 0 turnovers. And, man, they seem to own UNC. If you're UNC, how mad do you have to be right now?
They got over us. It's crazy because clearly right now they're the better program. And last year I think we beat them. They were in the top 5. Just you look at this, and clearly the game plan here was like, you know what? We are going to let Sam Howell run as much as he wants. We do not care. And that was evident the entire night. He actually ended up with 108 rushing yards. And he got a lot of those on 3rd downs because the defense is like, I couldn't care less. I don't want this guy ripping me up with his arm, which is what we know he can do.
Yeah.
So you rush all you want.
Yeah, that was one thing I was going to mention, though, that Syracuse quarterback and how they ran all over you. But I can see your point in this game. You'd rather have that than him throwing it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, think about it this way. We played a very similar style of defense on both teams. Sam Howell rushes for 108, and Schrader goes for like 140. And these long gashing yards. Same defense, different style of quarterbacks. This is why we looked at Sam Howell. We're like, he's not going to kill us with his legs. He just isn't. He had to rush 11 times to get that, by the way. So that was a thought.
Yeah. Going back to the Florida State and North Carolina, it reminds me of, I want to say, around 2001, 2, Eli Manning days of Ole Miss. We went to Ole Miss and we lost, and they came back to the swamp the next year. And we were like, oh, we're going to revenge, and we're mad at them, and they beat us again. And I was like, come on. I think Mississippi State might have done that with us too, with Mullen.
Yeah.
as their coach. So yeah, but yeah, they have their number. They don't play them next year, do they?
No, we rotate them off.
Cause that's another win for y'all.
Yeah, it's too bad for us, right?
Another guaranteed win. But they have their number. But yeah, but good on them. And this is, I mean, you see Florida State when they have a taste of winning. I mean, ever since that second half of Louisville, they're a different team.
That's true.
Yeah, they struggled against Syracuse, but they still won. They played dominant against North Carolina. I mean, they're a dangerous team now because they have nothing to lose because they've already lost it all,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They have nothing to lose. They're getting confidence. They're getting an identity. They're a scary team, and the ACC is just the wild, wild west, and nobody's dominant. Anybody can lose. I mean, they're a dangerous team. Watch out for the Seminoles going forward.
Oh, well, thank you for that.
Well, I mean, I'm just seeing what I'm seeing, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I mean, a couple of small things to clean up, but I mean, this is a pretty short list on this one. You do give up the 10-0 lead early. You hate to see a team constantly do that, but that's where we were. But it didn't, like I said, we rerun up, I think, 24 consecutive after that before they put anything else up. On the drive for the UNC Tar Heels coming out of the locker room, that was probably like the one or two driver games. You're like, okay, I wish I could have cleaned some of that up. And back-to-back plays, they just gash you, and then they go down and get a touchdown pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And then they're kind of back in it. I guess if the better of, what's the phrase I'm looking for here? The worst of two evils, right? Is Sam Howell going to throw you to death or run you to death? Let him run. Right. I kind of wish we'd limited him a little bit on that, but I'd rather him get the 108 rushing yards than the alternative. So I'm going to live with that one. Put it in the neutral category, I guess. We pressured their wide receivers all day. That's really what set up the defense, the interception that we got, and the fact that Howell just had no choice but to run. Last year, UNC didn't have this problem because they could hand it off to Carter or Williams, and they'd both run for 150. I mean, those guys were machines. So that's why last year they would just gash you any way they wanted, and which made last year's win just so much more of an anomaly. But they didn't have that option now, so Sam Howell was kind of running for his life, and he has a lot of pressure, and he could not settle the entire day. Defensive line just constantly got what they wanted. So that's really about it. I had down here we allowed a 2-point conversion. I don't really care about that. It was so late in the game, it didn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much either, honestly. As far as I mean, at this point, you win by 10 against a ranked North Carolina team that you thought was looking for revenge. Yeah, I mean, nitpick.
We were underdogs by 18 in this game.
Yeah, for real.
Somebody was like, why don't you give us the 18 on that? Because we nearly won by 18 if they hadn't scored the last touchdown.
Man, good for them, though.
Yeah. It's a good win. Anyway, I didn't have anything else unless you did.
Nah, that's it for me.
Ooh, all right. Noles victorious on the road. Okay, let's see. Miami was off. South Florida is off. Earlier in the week, FIU loses to Charlotte. FIU just got down a little bit too early in this one. Couldn't quite come back. They just constantly kept giving up big plays. I didn't know this. This is the first time Charlotte beat FIU, just FYI.
Really? Okay.
They were over.
I thought they had beat them like last year before that, but okay.
Yeah, so, good for Charlotte, the 49ers, to get over that hump. FIU does actually, I think, convert a pretty good onside kick attempt that they ended up ruling was touched early. It was one of those where the kicker dribbles it 9.5 yards and falls down and catches it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And Charlotte didn't see it coming, and the kicker, I thought, played it perfectly. They said he touched it like 6 inches too soon. I mean, it was so close. It was so close. But anyway, it was late in the game, and FIU needed it. And even if they were already down 2 scores at that point, like 5 minutes left, so not sure it would have made a difference.
Mattered, but interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how long do you think Jones is going to be there? I know we bring this up at least once a year, but
yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, what are you only at 1 or 2 wins so far this year? You're going to get 5 max. I mean, what are the options they have? Unless you're going to bring up a coordinator or let a guy try it out. What do you really expect from the Panthers?
Yeah, I know. it's one of those. Okay, be careful what you wish for. You get rid of one guy, but who's the next guy?
I mean, to answer your question honestly, I kind of think the end of next season, 22. Okay. He may get one more year after this to correct it.
Right.
You can't just constantly finish in the bottom 20 every year.
Right.
Eventually, they're going to fix something right there. So, I'll give him to the next season.
Okay.
I
don't know.
If he's not in a bowl, then I got to move on, I think.
Gotcha. Yeah, but you're right. I don't. Who else? Who else is going to do it? So, stinks for them.
Yep.
Let's see. Let's talk about FAU losing to UAB.
Yeah.
And I thought the Owls were just a better team. But I mean, maybe UAB is better than I thought they were too. Maybe I wasn't giving them enough credit. I didn't see that coming.
It's pretty amazing what the Blazers have done with their program after dropping football less than 10 years ago. And yeah, they've come out swinging. And FAU's not showing the fight I would have liked to get in the title game this year. And I don't know, after this loss, we'll see how they do next week. It's looking pretty dismal. Poor N'Kosi Perry just can't catch a break. His teams can't win. I don't know what to say.
I mean, they did a good job of tying it up, going down, making it 14-14 game, and after that, it was all UAB. Getting shut out in the second half is not going to help.
No, indeed. So I think I picked UAB, if memory serves, but yeah, expected to be more competitive.
Yeah, for real.
Yep. All right, and then the last game is UCF in a defensive struggle comes out on top against East Carolina, 20-16 at home. The Knights need a little bit of help in this one to pull it off. And heavens, did we ever think we'd say they nearly lost their third game in a row?
I know.
But
almost.
It's pretty clear that they're still not back healthy. They don't have everyone returning like we thought.
Right.
Robinson, not back from injury. Gabriel, there's no timetable for that. It's a clavicle that heals in different ways. It really just depends per player. So you're going with O'Keefe. You're going with an 18-year-old freshman to lead your offense. And this is kind of what you're going to see to start off with. They gave him a lot of short throws, right, Chris? You wanted your quarterback comfortable, give him what's easy.
Right.
He took only, like 2 shots down the field. If I were to guess, only twice maybe in the game, maybe a third time did he throw over 20 yards.
Okay.
And that's like the opposite of a play action, right? You want to throw it deep, so they have to respect the run.
Yeah.
I don't think he completed any of those. What it really came down to was the defense, and I just, especially after the way they played against Navy, I was like, I didn't know the UCF defense could do this. Mm-hmm. And they showed up. Crazy stat here I found. UCF did not score a touchdown in the first half of this game. That's the first half of a game they haven't scored a touchdown since 2015. This game was tied 3-3 at half.
What year did they go over?
That same year.
It was that year. That's what I was curious about.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a long time. And I mean, think about your own team. I'm like, I don't remember the last time. Well, Vanderbilt's a little easier. But last time you go a half without scoring a touchdown. So anyway, they struggle. They right out of the locker room they throw an interception. So East Carolina goes up 6-3. UCF immediately responds to take the lead, 10-6. East Carolina responds to go up 13-10, and then they get another field goal, so 16-10. You're like, ooh, late in the game, that 16 may be enough to win this game, kind of deal. And what I really knew, I was like, okay, this is going to make or break the season. UCF goes down and kick. It's 5-ish minutes left. They're down 6. They get in field goal range, and I'm like, you got to kick this, right? As a head coach, that's really your option.
Yeah.
Less than 6 minutes, your defense is playing that well. And, of course, the fans start booing. He makes the field goal, so you're down 3. I was like, well, that's a huge hurdle right there. But the game's not over if you miss it, right?
Right.
You're still only down 6. But late in the game, when you needed it, absolutely game on the line. I'm at midfield, 4th and 8. They convert. And, of course, pins and needles, everybody. Because if they don't get it, game's over in the season. Man, what do you do then?
Yeah, for real.
So far, that 4th and 8, that's the biggest play of the year. Okay. Then they go down and they score a touchdown with 20 seconds left. Hail Mary's not successful. They watched some Florida State film. Somebody was like, Brandon, what are they doing? I'm like, they're showing the Florida State-Jacksonville State final play to tell them what not to do right now.
Yeah.
And the Knights hang on to win in a low-scoring affair. Hope you took the under.
Yeah, I did. So I know they always score like 30 a game.
Yeah.
Did that streak get broken already?
Yeah, I think it was either 31 or 30. They held on that one for a long time. I want to say it ran over 3 seasons or something crazy.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure it's gone. Obviously, it's gone now, but I can't remember if it was broken before.
I think it was sometime maybe last year. But anyways, I mean, it's just odd to see UCF in a low score.
Right.
And a victory. So good for them. Like you said, at the end of the game, way to respond. And they don't win this game, or they don't find that last touchdown. I mean, that might be the season for them. So at least they have some hope now.
Yeah, because they've got their hardest opponent of the year coming up this weekend. So
yeah, it's a dicey one, man.
Yeah. All right, but that'll wrap up this week.
Okay.
Who wants to look forward, Chris? Who's looking forward to next weekend?
Oh, this guy right here. This guy right here. You talking about some revenge? talking about some payback? Talking about want to get past the game? Florida goes to LSU. First time we played them since the LSU game last year, and all the memes and mockery let that happen this week, and that's fine. And one of I would say the lowest point of last year for sure was that game and that single play, that fluky game with the fog and the shoe and the weird interceptions. Anyways, but this game is going to be a good one because Florida finally bounced back. They're going to Baton Rouge and playing an LSU team that is reeling, man. They are going backwards in many ways, on the field, off the field. This team is just hurting. Now, I understand that very similar stuff was happening last year before they played us and they beat us. So part of me is still a little bit queasy,
Sure.
But I mean, the issues that they going on, let's say off the field. I mean, Coach O is, on the hottest of hot seats right now. Just all his off the field antics and the fact that his team is losing a lot. They don't look good. They don't know. Their best players are. Talking about injuries all over the place.
Yeah.
Their best receiver, best offensive weapon, Boutte, he just got hurt for the season against Kentucky. Stingley's not coming back. I think their other cornerback just got hurt. He's not coming back. Many other a running back's out too. So they're hurting in many ways. They don't know who they are offensively. They don't know who they are as a team. So, and it's a noon game. It's not like a night game against the Tigers. So it's a noon game, which I think helps us, which actually at 11 local time. A lot of things that might actually favor us, Sure. Things you do have to worry about is Max Johnson. He's pretty good at quarterback. So, but their running D is not good. So we're pretty good at running. Malik Davis, who didn't play last week, should be playing again this week. Kyer Elam, who missed a couple of games, he's going to be back in the secondary. And, everything's going to be in the Gators' favor. I think we got our fire back, which is nice. Florida's favored by, it was 10 a couple days ago. Now it's 11.5. Really, with everything that's going so bad with LSU, we should be favored by more. I don't know if we're going to win by that much more, though. I would expect the same thing out of Florida, though. Maybe go down the first drive and score a touchdown, and then do nothing for a whole quarter and a half. And then score a couple touchdowns in the third quarter. Let them score on a long pass or two, but slow them down. I'm liking Jones. I'm liking his efficiency. I'm going to go Gators 30-17. I think it's just going to be. I think it's going to be too much for them. There's too much question marks going on that team right now. I think Coach O has lost that locker room. we're starting to get a little bit more of a fire under us after that Kentucky loss, the Vanderbilt win. So let's say Gators an ugly, probably closer than it should be for most of the game, 30-17 victory.
I like that. Make a lot of good points there. LSU is a shell of what they could and should be 2 seasons ago. I've seen them lose to UCLA. I've seen them lose to Kentucky. I've seen them lose to Auburn, a game they controlled for a long time and still lost.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't make any sense. But there is no sense when it comes to this matchup recently.
Right.
So I'm going to pick Florida to win, but LSU to cover because I just don't. On the road, I haven't quite seen enough fight from the defense, and I think that either. I don't know. The approach just seems different.
Yeah.
Because the Kentucky game, I was like, yeah, there's no way that they win. Or the Kentucky wins. And then. Now, there's some special teams freak things that happen in that one, I understand. And the offense kind of slid, only put up 13. So there's some factors there.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the Gators 23-20. Weird, low-scoring defensive affair.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's the case.
Oh,
like,
really?
I don't think we blow them out, although honestly we should. Just how talented we are and how much of a mess they are, we should blow them out. But it's probably going to be like 10 points, 1 point. Like, it's probably going to be something more what you're saying, honestly. Because this game is so fluky every year. Yep. Just when you think you know this rivalry, you don't know it. So, yeah.
And I'll admit, I'm leaning more on the history of this matchup more than the actual stats. Because the stats say Gators comfortably run for probably 200. They might turn it over once, just carelessness. LSU just does not look like it can score more than 15 unless you're playing Mississippi State. And it just, I don't know. I feel like I need to throw intuition out. I could be very wrong, and Florida wins this very handily because 10 or 12 points is what the numbers say should be the Gators' victory. But something tells me it won't be.
Yeah, I get that feeling too, man. I get that feeling too with LSU. Just you should. I mean, last year they had no business messing around with us, and they ended up winning the game. So now it's at LSU, same scenarios. So, but hopefully we can be like, hey, that one game that we lay an egg, we already played that game. So
yeah,
hopefully,
yeah,
we'll see.
I think you should be fine here. Florida State is off. They've earned a bye, and not even going to waste everyone's time looking ahead for a preview against UMass, because even next week I'm not going to give you much, because they got their one win of the season, like I said, against UConn. So I really think Florida State is going to enter the Clemson game 2 weeks from now with a 3-game win streak. Ooh, yeah. That's interesting all of a sudden, is it not?
Clemson better watch out.
Yeah.
I know it's at Clemson. They better watch out.
Clemson was 16 yards from losing to Boston College, so
yeah,
they have not shown anything. And so, anyway, the bye week, everyone always cliche, get healthy. It's very true now. Hit the recruiting trail. Show this tape of UNC or pull it up on YouTube, whatever they do now. Keep you the recruits, this really good class coming in next season. Keep them together. Do what you need to do. Make some contacts. Hit the trail, right? Fly them in on a helicopter. I don't know if you're still doing that, or if that was a Taggart thing. So keep the class together, get healthy, spend some time with your guys, and then give them a couple of days off. Let them have some fun. They're kids after all. So that's all I want to see.
Yeah. Health. I mentioned before, but them being healthy is you see what they can do.
Yep.
They're only going to get healthier after this week, and hopefully an easy UMass game. So. Yeah, I think they're on the up and up.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of now winnable games that, it's interesting. Just go back and listen to a podcast a month ago.
Yep.
We're talking about Florida State.
We're talking about they only win 3. Yep.
Yeah. Now, see, I think Miami, I think they can easily beat Miami. Clemson better watch out. BC on the road. I can see them winning that game.
Yep.
North Carolina State, that one maybe not. Maybe not so much. Florida, if they played them right now, no, but who knows at the end of the year. So, yeah, watch out for Florida State.
Yeah. Coming on strong now. I like it.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Speaking of strong, one of the top 5 teams in the country is Cincinnati. And they are hosting the UCF Knights on the road. I'm going to let you start on this one, actually. What are your thoughts on this one?
Cincinnati, are they for real? That's what I want to know. They're looking pretty good. It's one of those teams where last year they had a great year, and I thought they were going to drop off. I thought maybe last year was the year, right? Usually with these group of 5 teams, that's how it goes. But, I mean, kudos to them. They're rolling this year. I know that UCF is probably one of their bigger games on the schedule coming into this season. Now, who have they played, really? Notre Dame is their biggest win.
Yep. Right?
Indiana, not really. But I think that, Ritter's got them going. I think the momentum's going there. And UCF is just, they're a different team. They're really a shell of a team, what they used to be. So I think Cincinnati wins. Is it a Friday night game? No,
Saturday noon.
Saturday noon. Okay. Sorry. Reading the wrong date there.
You're good.
So noon game, that might favor UCF actually. But UCF, good defensive performance last week. But I think Cincinnati just too much hype and too much for UCF. So I'm going to go Cincinnati. Maybe closer than you'd think. Oh, the spread is 21. Oh man, I'm going to go Cincinnati by like 2 touchdowns.
Did you steal my notes? Did you look at what I? Did you look at?
Oh, really?
Did you know? No,
these aren't my notes. I realize that. Here.
No, very, very similar. I see the spread on this game. I think they must know something real dark and secret because I do not see Cincinnati win this game by 21. I'm going to tell you one of the main reasons why. Every game they've played this year, they've been tight with every single opponent for 3 quarters.
Yeah.
And they have they're playing up the, I'm going to air quote it here for those of you listening, which is 100% of you. Air quote, I'm trying to get into the top 4 and need to pad the stats category team this year.
Yeah.
So every time they have a chance to run up the score late, that's what they're doing. That's probably where that 21 line is coming from.
Gotcha.
Now, I also understand UCF's got some troubles in defense, except for the ECU game. They gave up a lot against Navy, which who doesn't? That's 95% of their offense. I get it. But I saw some things, against Boise State. They struggled to get that one. Against Louisville, they kind of let them kind of run over them. If they play that game now, I'm not so sure because they're running backs out the rest of the year. And, that we know the fluky end of that one.
Yeah.
So, you got to take all that into consideration, but the defense finally showed me something here. I agree. I'm going to take Cincinnati to win this game. But I think it's because the offense for UCF isn't going to be able to put enough pressure on Cincinnati. And Cincinnati is a team that never beats themselves. Very sound, not a lot of flash, most efficient quarterback you can imagine, very good defense, not going to turn the ball over, not going to make bonehead mistakes, not going to get penalties, not going to stall on drives a lot and punt. Just a very clean, sheen, almost boring team to watch. I mean, there's nothing exciting about them. They're just Cincinnati,
Yeah.
But they're just going to play their game and be consistent about it. This is the hardest team that they have left on their schedule the rest of the year.
Oh my.
And they get them at home, which is fortunate. Yet to be seen if UCF can turn the season around and be the team that Cincinnati plays in the title game. I still tend to think they are because I haven't seen a lot from anybody else. Mm-hmm. But UCF's still going to have to prove it on the field, and I think the Bearcats get it done at home, whatever your stadium's called. I've never even cared enough to look it up. But I'm going to say 34-23 Bearcats.
Okay. That's
but 14, yeah.
Yeah.
Note stealer.
Okay. If Cincinnati gets into the playoffs, this year it could be as crazy as 2007. I don't think it'd ever be that crazy. Let me backtrack, but I think it's gonna be crazy.
Well, they kind of, this is the way I see it. Hate me if you want, people. I think they finally threw a group of 5 team a bone, and the biggest thing that they did to help Cincinnati was ranking them so high to start the year.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
well, I think they started 10, but when you're climbing from the teens, that ceiling there is very, very tough.
Yeah.
But everyone else above them's done a favor by, I mean, Clemson especially, by just really laying an egg
Yeah.
right now.
Well, it's interesting because I think they're going to get in. Who's your favorite? Like, Georgia's pretty dominant on defense. I don't know if their offense is as stellar, but I mean, you don't need to have a stellar offense with a defense that good. Then who else? Iowa, I'm not really 100% sold on them, but maybe. Bama, don't count them out. Clemson's not the same Clemson. They might be out, actually. It's just a different year than what we're used to the last 13 years.
Breaking away from the state of Florida, did you know that Iowa has punted 40 times this year, which is one of the most in the nation, and they're ranked number 2?
Wow. Is their defense that good? Is that what it is?
It's that. It's turnovers. It's efficiency.
Yeah.
And with the Penn State game, I know Zach Clifford got hurt. Before that, Penn State was controlling it, so that could be some of it too. Anyway, so the stats don't always mean what you think they mean, guys. They can say what you want them to say. That one just blew my mind. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
40 times. That's nuts. It's just interesting to see who's gonna win out this year. Who's gonna make it in? Just not your normal Alabama, Clemson, Oklahoma,
right?
Georgia. I think it's just gonna be a different people. So
did you know if Cincinnati plays Georgia in the playoff, it's gonna be a rematch of the Sugar Bowl from last year?
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Who would have thought that they'd be the perennial?
Yeah.
Shit. And you said
I thought that was their 15 minutes of fame,
right? And then they just somehow Georgia snuck it out in the end. Yeah. Anyway, could be interesting. Yep. Going the opposite spectrum, teams that are never gonna make the playoffs. South Florida is playing Tulsa this weekend.
Yeah.
Did you go first on? I'll go first this time.
Yeah.
Both teams kind of having a rough year. I really actually did like what Tulsa was kind of doing the last couple of seasons. Tulsa got over on UCF a couple of times, and back when Conference USA had Tulsa and UCF, they actually played each other in a title game. Tulsa's kind of fallen away from that. I forget the linebacker that Tulsa had that got drafted in the NFL. He was their defense, and he actually was one of the reasons why they beat UCF last year. And without him, you see it's a completely different team. Mm-hmm. They got mauled by Houston. Get it, Cougars. And I just have to ask myself, which bad team is worse? I'm trying not to sway your opinion here. I'm going to take an upset. I think South Florida is due for a game, so give me the Bulls. I really don't have a whole lot of reason why, except Tulsa just continues to get knocked down. I don't think South Florida is better. But sure, why not? I'll take the Bulls today.
Yeah, I guess at the home you could say that they would probably win. I do like Tulsa's win against Memphis. I mean, I think South Florida's coming off a bye, so that helps them. Yeah. I don't think you're too crazy to pick them. I am going to go Tulsa, though, but I don't think it's crazy to go for the Bulls the upset because they're an anomaly. So they could easily win this game, but I'm going to go Tulsa.
Well, I wouldn't go so far as they would easily win it. It would be tough, but they came close a couple of times, like against Temple last year. They did play UCF tough. I think Jeff Scott's just due for a good game, and he's bound to win one of the Americans sooner or later. You're going to be there a while because the Big 12 didn't invite you, so you better start winning now.
Yep.
But in an upset, I'll take the Bulls. And you got Tulsa. Got it.
Do you think, just sidebar here, when UCF goes to the Big 12, do you still think they play South Florida every year?
Honestly, completely honest, I don't. I think they're going to treat it like UConn, where UConn's now independent, and they've kind of said, we'll play you you're an independent and we're in a conference, we'll play you in a 2 or 3 year series. So they'll keep it on and off.
Okay.
But, I mean, the other thing you got to keep in mind, Chris, is up to this point, they've still only played each other like 10 or 11 times total ever.
Oh, okay.
Before they joined the conference together, I think they only played like twice.
Oh, okay. So it's not that.
Maybe 3 times. And so, like, I make my maths off here, but it's very, very low. Everyone that wants to say, "Oh, this is a huge rivalry," it's not really. They are close, yeah, an hour and 15 minutes apart, but they've played very few times. I think what everyone thinks about, and myself included, I'm guilty of this. In 2017, they had that epic matchup when they were both really good. UCF was going on their undefeated run, and South Florida came in 10-1, and that game was an epic classic. It was Frost versus Charlie Strong. Remember that?
Yeah.
Just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And UCF finally
kick return at the end.
Yep,
like
that's the one.
Yeah,
and it preserved UCF's perfect season. I think because of that, it helps the image people have of this matchup. But I would be surprised if they do keep it, Chris. It's going to be because of the proximity, and it's going to save them some travel money because the Big 12, they're going to be going all over the country.
True.
Because it goes from West Virginia to Kansas to Iowa State to the Texases. Yeah, all over the place. So let's just take a bus instead of an airplane this time.
Yeah.
Kind of deal.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, indeed. All right. Speaking of teams that do play every year, Miami's North Carolina.
Yeah. It's an interesting matchup. Two teams that little bit overhyped beginning of the year.
Yes.
And starting to settle, starting to realize maybe not as good as they thought they were. Of course, Miami has some injuries, especially Derek King being out, going to a North Carolina team that kind of was surprised losing at home to FSU. So Miami at UNC. So Van Dyke is the quarterback now for Miami. I don't really know how well he's going to play, but the guys around him, the receivers and running backs are playing better.
Yeah.
I think, but I don't know what UNC's doing, honestly. I really don't know what they're doing as a team. I'm still picking UNC because they're at home. I think they give them a slight advantage at home. Although, be careful of Miami coming off a bye, though.
Yes, and I know that Miami's defense is going to show up because that's been their strength. The wide receivers, Harley and Rambo for the Hurricanes, have been pretty consistent, although they haven't been fantastic or ACC's Player of the Week quality. They've done enough to keep the offense moving when they needed to. But actually, just like you, I'm going to take North Carolina here, mostly because they're on that roller coaster I talked about before, and they were up, they were down, up, down, they were down, now they're back up.
Yeah.
So why not take that there? I do have a feeling that Miami's going to watch our game film and copy a lot of what we did, but then UNC's going to have a counter for it because they know that's probably what Miami's attack's going to be.
Yeah.
Manny Diaz does draw up some interesting defenses and makes it tough for the offenses to move sometimes, but once you break through that, generally means they're going to win the game. So I'm going to agree with you and take UNC. All right, so we both picked North Carolina there. FIU and FAU are both off this week, so that'll wrap things up.
Right. Yeah. Good. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to the LSU game. You guys get to have a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
So, what game are you most forward? Most forward to looking. Wait, what's the phrase?
What am I most looking forward to?
There we go. I can't even say simple words.
Or looking forward to the most.
Yeah. Since FSU's not playing.
The UCF Cincy is interesting. The problem is it's UF LSU at the same time. I think that both of those games are going to be good the first three quarters.
Okay.
And it's tough to pick one of those two.
Okay.
I mean, like you, there's two things I want to see. Is Cincinnati for real? To answer your question, this game will tell me a lot. And is LSU done? This game will tell me if that's true too.
Yeah.
If they give up or they just come out, I don't see a way. It's pretty tough to justify Orgeron at LSU after this year.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if Florida wins big, I mean, maybe after this weekend, honestly.
That'd be something fun for the Gators to brag about.
Just stuff I'm reading here, and it's like close.
Gotcha.
Him being gone. So,
wow.
We'll see.
Well,
I mean,
I won't be too sad either way because LSU shouldn't bounce back right away because Florida State plays them next season.
Okay.
We play them in like week 2 or 3.
So you want to play them having a brand new coach?
Yeah, I guess I suppose, yeah. or I take a really bad Orgeron who stays.
Okay.
I don't know which
worse.
is better for. I really couldn't tell you.
An even worse. Gotcha.
New head coach is probably more unknown, so I probably want that instead.
Yeah. Okay.
All
Cool.
right, good. Well, Chris, let's remind the fans how they can reach out to us if they have any questions or feedback.
Hit us up at FloridaFocusPodcast.com.
Perfect. And for the people that support the show, thank you so much to Jared and Tyler. As always, we appreciate that. If you would like to support the show, which would help us give you extra content, access to our text chain, and extra episodes, patreon.com/FloridaFocusPodcast. Quick note, Chris, and I'm efforting to find where this is on the website. When I was at the UCF game this weekend, at some point I was interviewed by the Sports Illustrated version of UCF.
Oh, okay.
They were going around tailgates and asking people questions, and I was lucky enough to be on their show for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. I just can't find a link to it, but when I do, I'll let everybody else know where that can be found, so you can see my take on what UCF pregame. You will hear a silly prediction where I thought UCF would win 38-31. But at the time, I think it was pretty justified. I made some good points as to why. So if I find that, I'll make sure to let everybody know where they can watch it.
Okay, awesome. Looking forward to that.
All right. Well, that is it for me, sir. I'm looking forward to a little bye week. I'm sure you're looking forward to a win in Baton Rouge. Anything else before we sign off?
That is it. Let's get it, man.
Let's do it. Well, this is Brandon saying, go Noles.
Chris, go Gators.